Abundant Excursions Incorporated presents Abundant Living Through Travel series. Join us now.
So, who is Globus? Well, I go over this every time. A lot of you who have joined a call before know a little bit about us. But in 1928, we had our owner, our founder. He purchased a rowboat and transported visitors across Lake Lugano in Switzerland. And from that, he actually grew it into an escorted motor coach company. So he was, after doing these rowboats for a while, he was actually given the responsibility to operate a local route for the Swiss National Post. And through the 1930s, the company grew into a fleet of 12 coaches. You see that little coach right there. Looks a lot different than the motor coaches that are around today. And after World War II, we acquired 2 other competing coach companies, grew into 33 coaches. By the 1950s, we expanded into Switzerland and Italy, the French Riviera, Scandinavia, Holland, Belgium, and England. So yes, for the part of it, we were European, but we are worldwide. So innovation was key, and we kept growing. In the 1960s, we launched an arm called Cosmos, which features affordable value-priced touring for cost-conscious travelers. And then in 2003, we added Avalon Waterways as our river cruising division. So the slide that I'm going to show you is now what we have as far as product and vacation. So 543 different vacation options for you, 6 continents, 71 countries. We're in business now this year, 96 years. We carry over 1 million passengers a year, and we partner with travel agencies like Angela and Abundant Excursions to bring you the most fascinating of worldwide itineraries. Today, again, we're going to explore safari itineraries in East Africa. So let's start a little bit on just why. So safari is nearly 100% of the experience in East Africa versus vacationing in South Africa. The safari animals, this is a unique experience only offered in this part of the world. And we'll talk about some of those animals as we go through the itinerary. There are a variety of landscapes. We'll talk about those as well. And those are as much of the experience as the animals are. Then we have the friendly locals, and we have really unique safari accommodations. So let's talk a little bit too about when to go. Most of the year is going to be dry. Rains are in April, May, and November, and generally just an hour or less in the afternoon. So the classic best time to visit Tanzania and Kenya on a safari is generally like from mid-June through late October, and the peak being around August and September. This 4 to 5 month window between East Africa's 2 rainy seasons is when both the weather is at its best and the game viewing is most thrilling. So again, August through September being the peak, but from mid-June to late October. So when the drought comes in May, there are herds of wildebeest that move north towards the Masai Mara in Kenya, and they chomp down on the high green grass, and they are quickly followed by all the gazelles and the zebras. This migration is not without risk, though. Crossing those rivers for these animals means facing about 3,000 crocodiles who are patiently waiting for their kill. This is a spontaneous natural event and largely dependent on the weather and the rains, so the exact movements are difficult to predict each year. So how do we get around when we're on safari? So all Globus and Cosmos brands use 4-wheel drive vehicles like the ones pictured here. On safari, we offer 2 start times dependent on the destination. We have an early start at 6:30 a.m., which can last anywhere from 2.5 to 4 hours, and a relaxed start that begins around 8 a.m. and only lasts approximately 3 hours. These times will be determined by the itinerary and, of course, our local guide. So let's talk a little bit also about lunch. Typical day on safari, lunch is going to be served from noon to 2:30, which is going to allow time for relaxation before your next venture out on safari. So here, pictured here, we have the Marasopa Lodge, which is one of the first safari lodges to be built in the Masai Mara Game Reserve. There's a reason here why its gardens and trees are so lush and mature. All the buildings here follow the design of traditional African roundhouses with those pointed roofs, and these stretch along the line of hills with impressively large public area buildings and swimming pool at the center. So just a kind of a typical lodge that we use. So in the afternoon, your game activity will start anywhere between 3 and 4 p.m., last again approximately about 3 hours. So on any given day of the vacation itinerary, you're going to be out in nature to see the flora and the fauna twice, and each for approximately 3 hours, for a total of about 6 hours on those game days. So let's talk a little bit about dinner and drinks. The dinner service starts around 7:30. In East Africa, which we're concentrating on now, you'll find that dinner is going to be served mostly indoors, with seldom times we're outdoors. Pictured here, we have the Kapama. It's in South Africa, I should say, not in Kenya or Tanzania. So, but I just wanted to show you kind of what the outdoor kind of seating looks like. So today, again, we're going to look in depth at our 15-day tour and highlight also just really quickly the 16-day itinerary that I have for you. So on this 15-day tour, we're going to go from Nairobi to Arusha. And you probably know that Africa conjures up dreamy images of mystical mountains, the savanna grasslands, the endless plains. But for adventure seekers, it's where the wild things are. The big five. You have the lion, the leopard, the elephant, the rhino, and the Cape buffalo. They're going to await you on this ultimate safari through East Africa. We feature unique lodges and tented camps. There are custom-made four-wheel drive safari vehicles that we just looked at, and exclusive meals in the bush. This Kenya and Tanzania tour really promises larger-than-life experiences and countless memories. You're going to savor the unique terrain, the wildlife at 7 renowned national parks. That's amazing. 7 national parks in 15 days. There are reserves, and there's also, we feature the famous Masai Mara reserve area. We go into the Ngorongoro. It's very hard to say. Then we go beyond the sightings of the big five. You're going to be looking out for the cheetah and the wildebeest, crocodile, hippo, and rhino. On the tamer side, we're going to go to a chimpanzee sanctuary. We're going to go to feed elephants, and it's just an amazing tour. When I was researching this, I personally haven't been to Africa yet, but oh my goodness, this is one that is going to be on my bucket list for sure. You're going to actually on this tour also go to the former home of the Out of Africa author Karen Blixen, and I just want to make mention before I move to the first slide really of our 15 days that this specific itinerary is listed as a small group discovery. And what we do with our African safari tours, they're all going to be small group discovery. They're limited to an average of just 20 guests per departure. This will allow you to get up close and personal with the destination. And honestly, there's no other way to do this or to offer this type of sightseeing. We're not able to bring our large motor coaches into these natural areas. So let's move on to our first day of adventure. We're going to arrive in Nairobi and we're going to say Jambo to Kenya. This is just a jumping off point for your dream safari. So on day 2, we are in Nairobi, where conservation does matter. We have a guided sightseeing that starts at the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust to learn about the elephant conservation, including the orphaned elephant calves. Oh my goodness. And during a visit to this remarkable sanctuary, you're going to learn about giraffe subspecies. We're going to meet them up close. We're going to feed them. We're going to get even closer on the feeding platform, and you may just get a little kiss from them. We're going to, after lunch, go visit Karen Blixen Museum, dedicated to that Danish baroness and author of Out of Africa. It is a 1937 an autobiographical account, illustrating her experience as a coffee farmer. You're going to have also, again, the visit to the Giraffe Center, followed by free time this evening. So today, this first day, we're really not doing any type of safari, but just getting you acclimated to the destination. So on day 3, we're going to drive north out of the city to Olpeta, the conservatory, and to the largest rhino sanctuary in East Africa. After lunch and some time to settle in, you're going to embark on your game drive and begin your search for those big 5, the lion, the leopard, the elephant, the rhino, and the buffalo. Tonight, we're going to join all of our traveling companions for a special welcome dinner in the bush overlooking the Iwasoniro River, and we're going to share stories of the day over food and drink and learn what adventures lie ahead for us. Now, the main thing here, or one of the main things, is going to be a tour highlight that includes your Sweetwater's Serena camp. It is in the heart of the conservation area, right? With magnificent views of Mount Kenya. The Globus guests are always given tents directly in front of the floodlit waterhole where the wildlife comes to drink day and night. So really improving that opportunity for you to see fascinating wildlife directly from your private veranda. On day 4, we're going to rise early for a morning game drive with beautiful Mount Kenya as the backdrop. And beyond those big 5, you're maybe going to spot some cheetah, zebra, gazelle, and more. If you're lucky, you might even spot rare wild dogs. So after some downtime then and lunch, we visit the Sweetwater's Chimp Sanctuary, which offers a long-term home to orphaned and abused chimpanzees. Just makes me want to cry. It's a moving example of wildlife conservation for future generations. And then you're out on an afternoon game drive. Dinner at the camp concludes your first full day on safari. So day 4 is going to be a major day for you with safari in the morning and in the afternoon. So on day 5, we leave Olpeta and we are journeying through the beautiful Kenyan highlands and one of the most fertile agricultural areas in all of Africa. We're going to stop at scenic Nahururu Falls and then onto Lake Nakuru in their national park there for an afternoon of game drive. We're going to have the chance here to see giraffe, the impala, flamingo, striped hyena, and just a variety of bird life along the water there. The Lake Nakuru National Park is important in pollination and food sources for bees and black rhinos. But what's really interesting here is that the forest is really toxic to many animals. All right, on day 6 this morning, we're going to depart for the Masai Mara National Reserve. This is Kenya's most famous game area. I know that everyone has heard of this, and the locals call it the Mara. It's part of the Serengeti ecosystem, and it really boasts a strong permanent population of game. When the great migration of those wildebeest that I talked about and zebra arrive here, typically, again, from August to November, their population grows by almost 2 million. This is really a bountiful food source for those predators such as the lion, the cheetah, the leopard, and the hyena. So after lunch at your lodge, you're going to set out again on an afternoon game drive. And the tour highlight here is that, on safari, you're encouraged to wear neutral tones. This is absolute must. But the village visits here provide spectacular visions of just vibrantly beaded necklaces, red clothing traditional to the Maasai culture. Like, this symbolizes strength and courage, as well as serving to ward off predators from afar. Oops. So on day 7, we're going to rise early for a morning game drive, including an exclusive bush breakfast. So you're probably asking, what's the difference here between a bush breakfast and a regular breakfast? Well, as part of your morning game drive, you're going to be treated to this time-honored safari experience in just Africa's unmatched landscapes. You're going to sip mimosas as you savor this memorable experience in the wild. Be sure here to watch for elephant, rhino, giraffe, hyena, and more. We're going to return to the camp like always, do some relaxing prior to getting out into the game drive again in the afternoon. So on day 8, after breakfast, we are going to fly to Amboseli National Park, known for its spectacular views of Mount Kilimanjaro, or Kili, as the locals call it. This is the highest mountain in Africa. So after lunch at the lodge, we're going to embark on the game drive. And the tour highlight here, in addition to the view of Mount Kilimanjaro, is the Safari Lodge. You're going to spend your leisure time here at the lodge exploring the grounds and on a guided nature walk, maybe, or participate in ecotourism events and activities. I may be planting an indigenous tree to improve the area. Maybe you'll do some cooking classes, language classes, massage services, and there's free free time for your pool to, splash around in the pool. All right. On day 9. Now, this Amboseli area affords you a terrific opportunity really to get close to the mighty elephant. So you may also spot the Cape buffalo, zebra, the wild dogs, and more. The morning and afternoon game drives are included today and this evening as the sun sets with Kili in the backdrop. You're going to savor a memorable happy hour with sundowner drinks in the bush, and this is going to be prior to you returning to your lodge for dinner. On day 10, we cross the border into Tanzania, and here we're going to enjoy lunch in Arusha. Here you're going to also witness the colorful culture and the villages and diverse ecosystem en route to your lodge along the rim of the Great Rift Valley Ridge. You're going to check in, you're going to enjoy some leisure time prior to dinner. Maybe you'll consider a visit to a local village for a market experience, or maybe you want to just do a nature walk on the Safari Lodge property. They have a bit of free time today. On day 11, we are in Lake Mayanara National Park. It's a small, ecologically diverse park with groundwater forests, grassy plains, and an alkaline lake, Manimara itself. So the park is home to the world's largest concentration of baboon. And we're going to watch here for the mischievous primates. We're going to see giraffe, hippo, and more on your morning game drive. After lunch, you're going to return to Karatu, where you're going to visit a local primary school to meet the children and learn about the educational system in rural Tanzania. You're going to continue to your lodge on the rim of the Ngorongoro. I'm going to never get that word right. Sorry. As a crater, and it's part of a larger conservation area. So today we're going to descend into the crater for a full day game drive. And this crater is the world's largest unflooded caldera, which is more than 2,000 feet deep, and it has a floor covering over 102 square miles. So game viewing here is really fantastic, as most of the animals stay in this area year round. It's your best chance to see the rare black rhinos, the lion, the Cape buffalo, the hippo, the elephants, and of course, a variety of birds. And because of the time that it takes to descend into and ascend out of the crater, it's really common to eat lunch in the crater. So standard safari fare is typically a box lunch, but on a Globus adventure, you're going to enjoy an exclusive fresh cooked lunch served under a grove of acacia trees. Day 13, we drive to the Serengeti National Park, Tanzania's largest and most famous park. The Serengeti does cover roughly an area of about 5,700 square miles. The name comes from the Maasai word Serengit, which means endless plains. So you're going to enjoy lunch at your tented camp before an afternoon game drive. You have the chance to see the big cats, the lion, the leopard, and the cheetah, as well as an abundance of other animals, including the Nile crocodile, the giraffe, gazelle. You may even spot a caracal. It's a rare, beautiful cat with these distinctive ears and really strong hind legs. Oops, I went a little bit too far. Give me 1 second. All right, so on day 14, we continue exploration during the morning and afternoon game drives, home to the annual Great Migration of the wildebeest and zebra, generally again in November and July. The Serengeti does attract visitors from around the world, and it's really great for year-round game viewing. Now, tonight we're going to have a farewell dinner in the bush featuring the traditional Maasai dance performance, and the Maasai people really bring a history of colorful culture tied to this wilderness known as the cradle of life. Your special farewell dinner in the bush includes traditional Maasai dance. It's really a celebration that is of an ancient culture amid all this majestic wildlife. And it's the perfect ending to really a spectacular safari adventure. So on day 15, you're going to embark on one final game drive in the morning before flying back to Arusha, where a day room is going to be reserved for your use, and your flights will be departing sometime after 5 p.m. Now, some of our amazing properties, I did mention them, but Sweetwater's, this is, tent position close to that water hole. You have the Malakalia, it's just has a beautiful pool. We have the Cadiz Zora, which is a camp. It has public areas. It's very wild. And then we have the Sarova, which has a bar at night and some nightlife. So we offer lots of different types of properties across our different vacations. Now, the one I did want to mention too is that we have a 16-day tour from Nairobi to Dar es Salaam. So the 16-day tour from Nairobi to Dar es Salaam includes all the activities highlighted in the 15-day tour, but it's also going to offer you the chance to indulge in the opportunity to really unwind after your exhilarating adventures on safari with a retreat to the island getaway of Zanzibar. So if you've ever wanted to go to Zanzibar and get that stamp in your passport, I know I have, this is the tour for you. So relaxation there is the custom, with locals offering a gentle reminder all the time. They say pole pole, which is just slowly, slowly. Everyone just take some time and relax. So, as Angela and I always usually do, to entice you to plan your safari with Angela and Abundant Excursions through Globus, Angela and I would like to offer you an additional $50 per person discount if you book and deposit between January 16th and January 30th. Now, as this presentation does come to an end, and I just want to not only thank you from Globus Family of Brands, but from me, from Angela, but I want to also remind you that, again, our organization is the expert in small group touring. 20 passengers maximum on these tours. We include all the meals while on safari, and we offer local favorites that aren't included in the other competitor itineraries. So when you're thinking about safari, please definitely think of Globus Family of Brands and contact Angela for any questions and to book that for you. Now, if you do have any questions right now, we are open to take questions for you. This is really your opportunity to ask any that you have. If you're a little shy right now, no problem whatsoever. Angela's always around to help you with the questions that you have. And if she gets stuck, guess what? She's got the experts here that can help her. So let me just take this opportunity to quickly show you Angela's information again. Most of you should have that, but I'll leave it up here for another few seconds. And then while I do that, I'm going to have to stop my share because I'm not really that technical either. But I want to bring back my video so that you can see me. And Angela, do we have any questions?
Hi. I'm actually looking through because I had to go look at my phone as well too. And at this time, we don't have any questions.
Okay.
So
I'm going to tell you though, if you plan a group on one of these itineraries, I am so going with you. When I was doing the research, I'm not kidding you. This is one of those trips that really, it's a once in a lifetime. And to see, I mean, I'm not being dramatic, but I am. To see all those animals, like not in a zoo and just in nature.
Yes, I can imagine. But one thing I can say is that I was a little hesitant when I read about the hippo and the fact about the hippo and how they're the most dangerous species, and they killed at least 500 people a year.
They are. But the one thing that you have to remember is that, on a safari with Globus, we're professional company. We're going to have just the best game, directors out there. They are there to protect you. So, you look at some of these Jeeps and these vehicles that we're in, and you're like, oh my God, it's all open, but that's the best way to see them. And believe me, like I said, we have people there that are going to protect you. So don't even worry about that.
Oh yeah, I know. It's funny. I was just reading it and I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. That's great news to know. But yeah, I do know that you guys you work really hands-on with the local people there, so that they are really the ones to help with coordinating everything, and they're really boots on the ground. So yes. I definitely know that for sure. For a fact. So this is great. I had quite a few
shopping. I would say shopping in Tanzania, not Kenya, but Tanzania. That's where you're going to get all the handmade, products that the locals put together.
Yeah. Definitely so, for sure. Well, definitely, this has been great. I know I had a lot of inquiries about it, and I have had a client, they've done this they went last year, so they had a great time. So for those again who are interested in, if not this itinerary, we have a variety of different itineraries that can be available for you. We customize as well too, so we can do that as well for you. So definitely reach out if there's something that you're interested in. If this is one of your bucket list trips that you just want to check off, you can do that. One question I do want to ask though, how far out are you guys? Because I know a lot of bookings are now for 2025. Are you beyond 2025 now, or is this just up to 2025?
So right now we may have some pricing and dates already for 26. I don't say this to scare anybody, but this year is definitely going to be the race for space on every departure. That doesn't mean that we don't have space. We have space, but the sooner that you can decide on what you wanted to do, whether it's this year, next year, 25 or even 26, the sooner you can decide and start choosing a date and choosing an itinerary, all the better. Yes. I do see a number of things that we're kind of like, going through and trying to get a couple seats here and there. So people are traveling, and that's great. Yeah, and people are looking to, especially for something like this, they are trying to get ahead of the game as far as booking it early. That's why I asked. I know a year out, and some people are actually looking at like 2 years out. So I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. It all depends. So that's why I asked about that. But good to know. And again, like I said, you go, lady, gentlemen, reach out if you have any questions in regards to this presentation. Let me know. For those who perhaps missed it, it'll be available for a day or so still on my Facebook page, but it'll be available long term on my YouTube page, which will be available within the next 24 to 48 hours. So you'll be able to see it there, and I can share the link for you on there so you can review it at your leisure. All right.
Well, if we don't have any other questions or any other concerns, then I'm checking again. Okay. Then I'm going to say farewell. And thank you guys for joining us. Appreciate your time. I'll be in touch with any future Abundant Living Through Travel series that we're going to have for 2024. But note that Rose and I are traveling a lot this year. So, we'll see how many we'll be able to do.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah, we'll work something out. So, but again, thank you so much. Thank you, Rose. I appreciate your partnership with me on this. And have the great rest of the day. You guys take care. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this edition of the Abundant Living Through Travel series. Thank you to our travel partners who shared their time with us today. Until next time, continue to live life more abundantly through travel.